All right, you ready? All right, hello and good afternoon, everyone. Sorry, it took us a couple times to get this to just this point, but it was all fun getting there. But it is show number 55. I said, "Great Scott!" You know, kind of like the movie with well, they went back in time. It was 1955. And it's like, "Great Scott!" Anyway, all right. So anyway.
I guess, feel like I'm laughing like that movie that we just watched.
Yeah, you should have. You just had to have been here for that one. So anyway, all right. So it is show number 55, and it is July the 26th, 2018, and I am truly, or we are truly looking forward to this one. 55 is going to be a good one. So. Today, again, there's not much going on in the world of hard court tennis, and yeah, there's some tournaments going. Clay, some grass, and a 250 in Atlanta, and a similar one for the women and China, respectively. But the highest seed, I think, in either one, in both men's and women's, I think is John Isner, if my research paid off. I may be wrong on that one. I'm pretty sure I'm correct. So, again, I don't personally have even John Isner going very deep at U.S. Open. I hope he does, and I think he has a baby coming.
He might not even play it.
So, congratulations to Isner for his upcoming childbirth, and hopefully everything goes well with that. No disrespect to how far I think he will get at the U.S. Open.
Yeah, he might not even play. He said.
So the beautiful thing is about having a child is that no matter what happens in the game that you play, in the game that we discuss objectively, there is no bigger grand slam that you can ever attain than your child. So either way, congratulations, Isner, and we hope to see you at the U.S. Open. And if not, then the best of luck with the new edition. All right. So, we have a ton of comments to cover, and hopefully we can address all of those comments. We like to mention everyone at least that starts a comment, and sometimes there's a lot of comments within threads where different people will come in and comment. So sometimes it's tough to fit all of them in within one or two shows of 30 minutes each, and we're going to try to do our best. But if you want to check out a lot of the comment threads in their entirety, please go back and look at the previous videos, go to the comment section, and you can scroll down and you can see the expanded version of everyone's comments, and Carla, will read a lot of them in their entirety. All right, so anyway, we've had, by the way, and this is just a quick nugget, that we have had many requests here recently for the following type of videos. We've had requests for coaching videos. We've had requests for videos of Carla and I hitting. We've had requests to see videos of us coaching our kids, and also videos of us streaming tennis rackets. The good news here is all those videos are out, and they have been out for a long time. So my apologies for being still very new at doing this, but I think we are getting better every day with all of your help. But there are probably 700 videos of us coaching our kids, us doing lessons, us hitting with one another, us demoing rackets, us breaking down specific strokes, volleys, overhead serves, one-handed backhand, two-handed backhand, overhead, you name it, they're there. But when we started doing this, we were just basically going out, setting the camera up on a tripod and just hitting start, and then we would just take some pieces out and just... So
sometimes we didn't take pieces out either.
Yeah, sometimes we didn't take pieces out at all. And in my opinion, looking back, I think it was so boring. I mean, there were some good clips within those clips, but if I could go back in time and not have deleted all the videos that we downloaded and had time to edit them with 5 kids inside and everything else, then they would have been better. So there is stringing videos, how-tos, there's so much more. They're already on our channel currently. This one just somehow, some way, go to the channel, you'll see about some 850 videos. If you start scrolling back maybe a month or two, you'll see the coaching and stringing videos start to pile on. Carla hitting, Carla coaching the kids, Carla coaching the one-handed backhand, Carla coaching the 5-year-old, Carla coaching the 2-year-old, myself with the, so the list goes on. But just check them out. I won't beat a dead horse with that, but if you have requests, look at those. And yes, we will do more. 3 of our 5 children are out of town, and the older one helps me out a lot with those videos. So it's been tough for us to do the past 2 weeks. Anyway, moving forward, there's a ton more videos, and not just us talking, but of us actually playing and coaching, stringing as well. So again, I think I just mentioned, and I had a note here, remind people that they may be garbage to them, right? Did I just say that?
They're probably bored. Yeah, some of them are boring.
Yeah, again, I apologize, and I got ahead of myself before I flipped the page, but a lot of them are probably garbage. Honestly, maybe there's a few nuggets here and there within long, boring videos, and I'm sorry for that, but they are there, and we will do better once the older boys get back to try to put something down that's better. But check them out; they're there. We're gonna jump right into viewer comments. By the way, there's a lot of them, so this show is going to be primarily about viewer comments and a couple parting thoughts at the end, right? Mm-hmm. All right, so jumping in. The first comment that we got after the video, we haven't done one in 2 days. This is the 3rd day. So we took a break yesterday, the day before, caught up on some chores, some work, and so forth. So pardon that. But again, it's really results that we want to focus on here upcoming in the U.S. Open. So we're kind of picking and choosing our days, so we're not wearing out we're not watering this down. We want it to remain fun and enjoyable and let people think a little while, right?
Right.
All right. So the first comment we got after the video yesterday was from Steve Clevenger. Steve Clevenger is a new tennis fan, but a longtime weather fan of a lot of the hurricane and tropical storm and thunderstorm videos that we have done. He wished a happy birthday to my mother as well from afar. So thank you, Steve, for that. Hopefully we have another good tropical storm or thunderstorm this year. All right. So the next comment came in immediately from AJ Malfoy. Carla is going to read this one in its entirety, and then he has a couple more that came in, and not within the same thread. One comment, bam, people discussed that one, other people. And then he came in with another one, boom, and other people discussed that one. And I think he came in with a third one, and then boom, people started discussing that one. A lot of people. So I think they were all well worth reading, right?
Right.
All right, so she's going to start with Malfoy's first one.
Just a side note, one of my friends suggested that for the equal prize money debate, men and women should play 3 sets until the quarterfinals, where from then on both play 5 sets. It's a nice idea, but I think the drama, especially in the men's draw, is missed. For example, in 2015 Wimbledon, Novak was 2 sets down in the 4th round and would have been out if the 5-set format allowed him to but the 5-set format allowed him to come back and eventually win the tournament. What do you think of her suggestion?
You want me to start?
Sure.
I think it has pros and cons. First of all, Malfoy mentioned right off the bat that how many times have we seen men down 2 sets to none that come back and win in history?
Many.
And we have a win. We have a win. Wins in our face.
Many.
So many times. So this juggles into the unknown and how would history be rewritten if it were grandfather clause back in time. I think for myself personally, just with that thought alone, it removes me from this, at least on the men's side. Now the problem with the women's side is you get a female, no disrespect to you or females at all, but again, their bodies are different. And I'm no female. I've been blessed with a father that's a physician, and I've heard it my whole life. And obviously, I have little girls. I have a 9-year-old girl and a 5-year-old, or now a 6-year-old girl, and I have a soon to be 39-year-old wife, and the list goes on. But females have a little bit more difficult of a time recovering 100% from fatigue. Especially if there's a specific cycle that's ongoing, a monthly type of cycle. So the biology during that cycle is strained on other areas, trying to heal and make up for lost biology. We'll leave it at that. But the body is constantly trying to adapt to that. So if the women are going 3 out of 5, well, I think there should be some medical clause where if it's that time of year or cycle for a young lady, then I think the biology should come into standpoint, and then it gets too complicated. So I think 2 out of 3 is right on for the women no matter what. I think pushing them 3 out of 5 is too much to ask. We can go on and on and on and on and on about that, but I remember these ladies give birth to children. Their bodies are never the same after that, and it just goes on. So I'm gonna remain kind of 30% okay there in terms of the idea. Again, he did mention, he said his friend did, I think, and about a 70% thumbs down. I think men should play 3 out of 5 in the majors. I think her father came up with an example that there should be there should always be a tiebreaker in every single set in all the majors unless it is the final match. And if it goes 122 and 120 to 120 in the final, then everybody's happy. Its records are set, and it's not just another mundane, trivial record because 2 big servers matched up. You know, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I have to agree with you, Justin. You know, how many smaller tournaments or like Master 1000 series we watch where some big player, some known player beat a big time player in 2 out of 3 sets? It happens all the time.
Happens often.
Like Federer lost, Djokovic lost, Nadal lost, and then we say to ourselves, but if they were at the Grand Slams, this wouldn't happen. They don't care because it's 2 out of 3. If it was a Grand Slam, you know this would not happen. It's harder for those type of lower ranked players to beat the top guys because they have to push themselves 3 out of 5. So I don't think that would work. I think it would be too quick. The people that buy tickets, you know, at these tournaments, they wouldn't really enjoy this. The matches would go too quickly in the men's just because they have harder serves. You know, a lot of them are supposed to win their serves, so the sets would go just too quick. At a 2 out of 3, think about it. They would finish under an hour. Right?
Sometimes,
when your serve is on and you're playing me,
well,
the match can go quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I
you're
get
not
where you're
watching
coming
too many
from,
points.
but there are exceptions to the rule there. Is it not true that you and I played a set the other day and it was 2-2 in the first set and we've been there almost 2 hours?
Yeah, okay, but I'm a girl. But I'm saying usually 2 guys that have good serves, you know, usually they're winning their games. And if you're playing 2 out of 3, the sets are going to go quickly. So 3 out of 5 is better. As for women, I agree with you. I mean, if you put a woman to play 3 out of 5 every single round, they're going to be tired by the 4th round. I'm a woman, and I would be tired. What about if a set went 7-6?
Yeah, and also playing that much fatigues and wears on joints and ligaments and other parts of the body.
Quick retirements.
And prones them to injury quicker. I mean, I think even at the highest level for a lady to have to, I guess, chase after the likes of Federer to win 20 majors, and you're pushing her 3 out of 5 sets when they break each other's serves at random.
It's not fair.
I don't think that will work out. Just from a biological standpoint, if there's any MDs out there or physios or trainers that disagree, then great. I would like to hear the woman's standpoint of that from an athletic standpoint.
You just said something really good.
I would like to hear from a woman's athlete perspective and not some soccer player that's male in Finland. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm telling you as a female that I know I wouldn't be able to do 3 out of 5 every single round to make it to the final. Especially like when you said women are breaking each other's serve.
Randomly.
So they would be tired.
So here's a quick, I didn't have this written here, but here's just an example. Carla and I, and you've been keeping up with this, if you're seeing this, we have played sets every day for a long time. We both got into a set the other day that got kind of personal, and we pushed it 3 hours for a 7-6 set. We have played the last 2 days, so a quick slide-in match update, but neither one of us had 100%, so we just started playing sets and saying, okay, well, every time you serve, you have to go for both of your serves. Every time you get one in, I have to go a hard forehand up the line, or I have to hit my one-handed backhand topspin and not slice it. So for 2 days after the one set, and I'm 40 and you're 39, I get that. But we play every single day, and at times it stresses the body on me just playing a set, much less on you, a female, for 3 out of 5 sets, potentially every other day. That's taxing on the body.
It is.
It's
You're gonna ask for players not to last as long as they're lasting in their late 30s. They're gonna retire from tennis in their early 20s. For women, I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The guys are used to it. You guys are built different. You're supposed to last longer. So that's going back to why they should pay why they shouldn't pay them the same? Because they play less? I mean, we're women. They're men. I mean, you don't have, when you have a boxer, right? Men boxer. The woman boxer does less rounds. They don't put them all the way to 12 rounds, or depending what the weight class is. Same with basketball. You know, everything is, you know, to their, I guess, women's standards. I don't know how
well,
you say it.
I think the argument isn't the amount of fight in them, or he or she. I think it's based upon marketing and ticket sales and how many seats are being filled and how many people are buying pay-per-view on their televisions and so forth. I understand that. I think that this question goes back to a question long ago, and I think it was even Malfoy's question about should there be equal prize money in Grand Slams. And again, well, that's not what we're necessarily discussing here, right?
But a lot of them do bring it that the women only play 2 out of 3 and it's not fair.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at is in order to sell tickets, I guess you have to have some type of quality leading up into the final. And if you were playing women, in my opinion, 3 out of 5 sets the first round, the second round, you know by the time you get to the final, it's going to be 2 people that are like normally marathon runners and they know nothing about tennis and they just lasted as long. So I think you would start to have marathon runners dominate women's finals and not tennis players.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? And
In
so
other words, somebody like Wozniacki would probably make it to the final because she can push the ball all day.
Or from a coaching perspective, I think I would want to search out and find the last 5 Boston Marathon winners and try to train them as tennis players on the female side. You know, because the male marathon runner is not going to blast anybody off the court. Okay, you're going to have someone that can do that. But on the female side, unless you're Serena Williams, you're not really blasting anyone off the court. So if it comes down to a longevity and defensive game, then I'm going to bet on the Boston Marathon runner, and then tennis even gets more boring.
Yes, totally agree, Justin.
So that's my metaphor. Anyway, Malfoy has something else right after that, another topic. So a topic. That was one segment. Boom. And that was a thread where people commented, and now he's got another one. Bam, and it was a good one.
Thanks for your comment. Never mind. Okay. He's referring to me, telling me, to her argument about women not lasting longer. To that I say, in women's football, they will play 90 minutes, just like the men.
Fair enough.
The women train so hard to say that they wouldn't last against other women in the best of 5 who aren't exactly going to blitz them off the court. By the way, great point to the women's tennis players are barely known except Serena Williams and Venus and Sharapova, but that doping incident made her more known. Laugh out loud. I'm sure they can hear me. If this was the men getting paid the same for doing less work, they would be an outrage. I think the women should be paid greatly, though just not as much as men. Imagine tennis without men. It could cease to exist. No Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, Kyrgios, Wawrinka, Murray, etc. The tournaments would be empty. I have to disagree with them. I mean, what about the women? What about tennis without women? A lot of these guys go watch women play tennis. A lot of these little girls, their parents take them so they can be an athlete, watch a great star or great athlete on the court, run side to side. That's a bad argument, in my opinion. And he says that soccer, that the women play 90 minutes. There's a big difference between soccer and tennis. Soccer, they take breaks, they switch players, one. Sometimes they're timeouts, sometimes they're not running all the time back and forth, back and forth. On a tennis court, on one round, you could be out there for 2 hours. Then you got round 2. Then you got round 3, 4th, round of 16, quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals. You cannot compare soccer to tennis.
All right, so repeat the last part of that, where there was an indication about women's final or men's final. Wasn't there something there? Read the last part of that.
He said, he says the women should be paid greatly, just not as much as the men.
Okay, wait, yeah, freeze right there. Okay, so I understand this comment and I agree with this comment. So, but I disagree with her here on one perspective, that if you're not filling the stands up and you are not selling tickets and you are not selling airtime or whatever it is on this marketing scale, we talked about marketing, then how can you afford to pay? Who are you going to take it away from? So you're going to take it away from Peter to pay Paul. I think that's an old saying. I got to rob Peter to pay Paul, and then finally Paul's going to get pissed and everybody's going to be messed up. It's part of my language. But here's the thing with that argument. Even what I just said is my thought process is that are we conditioned as tennis enthusiasts and consumers of the sport and players of the sport and coaches of the sport to just follow the men? If so, let's experiment. What's the hypothesis here? Why? Why is it that way? Is it marketing in of itself? Let's say for one whole year we cut off men's tennis. Just a theory. We cut off men's tennis entirely from any type of coverage, newspaper, which is obsolete, internet, anything. No tennis coverage whatsoever. Only women. I guarantee you, after that 1 year, maybe give it a year for people to be mad, and the next year for people to kind of gel back into the whole deal. I guarantee you start having your Batmans and Robins and your Spider-Mans and the Marvel heroes on the women's side. That's all I'm getting at. I think that more and more attention is put on the men. And yes, there is the big three, and that's another argument for the men. We have Nadal, Djokovic, Federer, and don't tell me Murray's in the big four. Murray's is lucky when those three are hurt. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that. But Murray's always been mentally weak, very mentally weak, very mentally weak.
I'm sorry. Murray's like my least favorite player. He is boring to watch. He puts me to sleep. Whenever there's Murray, I can't bear myself to watch that.
Yeah, no disrespect to England, obviously.
He has no personality whatsoever.
Yeah, no disrespect. I mean, it is an objective discussion piece. How does Murray even fit in to the greatness of Djokovic, Federer, and Nadal?
He doesn't.
Okay?
No.
How does he even factor within? He just doesn't.
He doesn't. He has three Grand Slams.
Not mentally, not physically, not charismatically, nothing. He just doesn't fit in. So yeah, he hung around there, made it to a lot of semifinals and some finals, but when it came down to the nitty-gritty, he lost with the exception of about 3, I think. All right. Anyway, so Malfoy came in with another comment.
In response to the next generation, maybe we should accept that we have been blessed with 3 greatest players possibly ever. So we've come to accept the next generation do the same. I think the truth is Nadal, Djokovic, Federer have taken the sport to new levels. And when they go, I fear for the sport. This next generation will only win when the big 3 go on, which shows that they aren't great at all. Tennis will sink low when the big names go, especially in the women's game with no more Williams sisters who arguably make the women game relevant. Let's enjoy the moments now. I wish these guys would play to 50. Totally agree. I say when Serena and Venus retire, I don't even know if I'm going to watch that much women's tennis, honestly. I mean, there's a few players that have captured me, like Kasatkina.
I like Ostapenko.
I like Kasatkina a lot.
I like Kerber, but she's getting older.
Yeah, Kerber's almost in her 30s. I can't think of who else I like. Oh, I like Kenin, the new young player that's coming out.
Yeah, the Kenin, the girl, I think Garcia, isn't she the French girl that's young? Garcia?
I don't even watch her. Who else can you think of? This is the problem.
I mean, you have Madison Keys there, but she's been around.
Honestly, it's the same thing over and over. It's hard to think, right?
So yeah, I mean, it's not a conundrum. I think if we sat down on paper, we'd be like, oh, we've seen her before. Oh, we've seen her before. But we can't recall them out of short-term memory because our RAM isn't deep enough to store the constant influx of ins and outs. I think when we look at our draws and select fantasy teams, I think, is it not true that we say, oh, I remember her, but wait a minute, I have to see who she lost to last tournament because I don't remember her. But wait a minute, now I remember her. I've seen her name before. I think, but down the way, the consistent names that we always see on the women's side is suspect at best, and even on the men's side, at least if you take away, don't even put. I'm not even mentioning big 4. There is no big 4. There's 3 of them. Djokovic, Federer. You take those 3 out. What do you have left for the last 15 years? What do you have?
Well, you know what? We said the same thing when.
Del Potro, okay.
We said the same thing
when inconsistent.
If you look back at time, we said the same thing when Sampras, Agassi were about to retire. Oh my God. Well, before they retire, who's going to be the next? You know, we thought the same thing, and then Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic came up.
No, but
so we don't know.
I don't agree with you there because I love Sampras. Don't get me wrong, one of the best. But I never thought Agassi was that great to me. I thought he was a baseline hugger.
But a lot of people watched him.
I never was a big fan of Agassi, honestly. And I mean, I was living in Southern California in his heyday.
Well, I wasn't a fan either until the end.
I wasn't a big fan even at the end.
I wasn't a fan at the end.
I never cared for his game. I'd rather would have put my money on Becker or Edberg or.
But Becker was done by the time Agassi.
But wait a minute, Becker beat
one
Agassi in the semifinal of Wimbledon in 2001 or 2.
One.
Anyway, it happened. I'd rather go with Becker than that dude. Just saying. No offense to Agassi. I mean,
they both have
Becker's have his issues.
They both have their issues.
But
I don't know. I think Agassi did better considering that he's with Steffi Graf. Just saying.
Yeah, I'm just saying if I had to, forget about the personal. I'm saying tennis player to tennis player, prime and prime. Who would you rather take? I'd take Becker all day. If I had
Who had a better career?
I think Becker did. I don't care how many Grand Slams.
I don't. How many Grand Slams did Becker?
Slams?
No, I don't know.
Like 6.
I don't even know
How many? Vlad's Music Box can tell us how many. Becker had what, like 5 or 6? Didn't he win like 4 Wimbledons? And I may be way off.
I don't know. I know. I guess he had 10 or 11.
Yeah, that many?
Or 8. 8 is the number, I think.
Either way, I'm just telling you, if I had to go back in time and someone asked me, if you had to pick the best player in your mind between, in their primes, Becker or Agassi, I can darn well promise you I would take Becker and I'd go to town with him. What's up, Boris? Loved you.
I love Boris.
Let's go.
I love Boris much better than Agassi.
Shoot.
But I don't think I can say that he
come
had
on.
a better career
Let's
than
go,
Agassi.
Boris.
I'm sorry. I think I have to disagree with you on that one.
Man, you're out.
And I'm not a huge Agassi fan. I just think I have to disagree with you on that one.
Becker's a beast.
He was a beast.
He still is a beast.
Was. Ask Djokovic.
Hey, when I was a
saying.
kid, some of the only video we didn't have television in my home when I was a kid. My dad wouldn't allow it, or did not allow it. We didn't have video games. Plus, it was in the '80s and early '90s. Some of the only things I could ever even turn on, anything with a picture tube on it, was an Edberg or a Becker match, and sometime against one
To
another.
me, Edberg was better. So
Well, yeah, I like Edberg too, but I still like Becker over Edberg.
So do
just a
No,
smidgen.
not me. I love Edberg.
So I grew up watching that, and growing up, I was trained to serve and volley, and I have learned to be more Agassi-like at the baseline, metaphorically speaking. But
Agassi kind of changed things. Let's be real.
Prime and prime, I'm going with Boris.
Agassi
Let's go,
changed
Becker.
things. Remember when Agassi came in, he changed that. It was harder for serving volleyers to come in.
Like that. All right. All right, so moving forward, we are at 26 minutes in. 26 minutes.
You might as well finish his comment because he has one more.
Okay, we're going to finish that, and then we're going to go to part 2. We're going to stop and go to part 2.
Okay, he says, I laughed when you said Murray was done. Murray only became number 1 when Nadal, Djokovic, Federer faltered. Do you think that he was fortunate in the way? Because I don't think he was the number 1 spot for too long. At Murray's peak, is he capable of dominating the rest? Honestly, I don't believe there's a big 4 because it has never felt like he was on their level. The term was made by British media to feel relevant. Sorry, I'm commenting so much. I just like to discuss. I agree with him. You just said it. I don't consider him in the top 4 at all.
So I like this. The reason why I like this a lot is because I get about 2 weeks ago we showed a stack of notebook paper that we stack up for every time we write. It's usually about 8 pages, like solid. So I pulled out the stack of papers, and it was about this thick, and I said, should we show the stack of papers? And we were like, nah, let's be humble, doesn't matter. So anyway, I wrote here, I said, instead of me writing down what was said and how I'm going to respond, how she's going to respond, I just said, look, I'm writing it down, and we're just going to read it, and then we'll discuss it. Did not know that was coming. Malfoy, I'm with you.
Yeah, he
Totally
said
with
it
you.
perfect.
We
He said
said
it
the same
perfectly.
thing.
I think it's
Same
the
brainwave,
British
bro.
media, they made it out to be as he was the top 4. He's never held number 1 ranking for too long. I
Totally
mean,
agree, bro.
Ivan Lendl couldn't even help him that much.
Totally agree. Look,
He's just not strong.
there would be time, and it's not Murray's athleticism for me. It's Murray's, when you look in his eyes, when you have been around the game for a long time and you get into a struggle, there's kind of a fight or flight response that you can see if you have been around the game long enough to see it or have been trained to see it. You see Murray deep in a match or right at a break point or serving at 40-30 at the toughest of times, and it's almost like he doesn't have this specific twinkle of a lion or an eagle that wants to go out and attack. You seem to see this look of kind of like a crow waiting for the kill to happen. And I'd rather be the eagle than the crow. And no disrespect to the crow, but nonetheless, I think I think that his eyes to me look a lot, and have for the past 15 years, 13 years or so.
It's always the same thing.
Have
It
always
never
been,
changes.
yeah. They've always looked sparse and kind of dazed. He's going, yeah, come on, all this stuff. I understand that, but really comes down to it when he's bouncing the ball before he serves, or just his moment of pause, right when he's about to serve, from the time that he's getting set and about to start his motion. You look in his eyes then, and it just looks like he's not quite. Nor has it ever looked like he's been quite 100% there in terms if you're going to compare him to the other 3.
You know, also he won that Wimbledon against Federer. I really think, and I hate saying this, Federer felt bad for him and said, you know what, let's just give this to him. That way the English crowd, the British crowd, you know, goes crazy, since they haven't had a British man win in a long, long, long time. I feel like he gave it to him. It's a gift.
So Malfoy, appreciate the huge influx of knowledge, comments, and discussion, questions or topics that you brought up. It contained one entire show, basically. So we're going to stop this here. We're going to go to part 2, and we're going to finish this up with more viewer comments, projections about the U.S. Open. We have to start talking about the U.S. Open because I get there's not much going on now, but just like Wimbledon, it's going to creep up on us. And we're going to be doing results and so forth, and hey, we want to project some winners here, so we're going to start talking about that as well. We have some new commenters, also some parting thoughts, and that's about it. And some dark horse projections for me for the U.S. Open, and then I'm going to end it if we can get through all this on the next one, which we will, or we'll just make the rest for the next time. Something we saw today that involved basketball courts being repaired, but yet the tennis courts that were in way more need of it when the basketball courts were actually pretty nice already and the tennis courts were dilapidated. Why the basketball courts were being redone when the tennis courts were about to have a volcano shoot out from the middle of them. So we'll get to that if possible. In the meantime, hey, thank you very much for watching. Click a like below, and we're going to stop at this point, and we're going to get into Kia Sama's comments. I think she's in Nigeria at this point, so we wish her well on her travels, and we're going to get into her comments.
She's heading to Nigeria?
She's heading to Nigeria, or they're in Nigeria. So anyway, I had a father that spent some time in Nigeria during his medical studies, residencies before I was born, but we're going to get into that comment and everything else next. So thank you very much. And there was, by the way, a new person that commented today from Trinidad and Tobago, and his name was Weather Freak Channel 1. He saw some of the weather stuff, and we're going to get into his comment next. Again, it's nice to have international viewers, especially nice to have one from Trinidad and Tobago. All right, so we'll see you here shortly. Thanks for watching. Carla always says,
Adios.